right, it is a new month, and that means it's time to plan out that new month. And I'm gonna bring you along with me as I plan out my month, just to give you an example of exactly how I go through and plan out a month. So in this video, we are going to be planning a new month. I'm gonna bring you right along with me. We're gonna go through 6 steps that I follow every single month when it comes to planning my month. And I'm gonna take you right along with me because I feel like, as a visual learner myself, if I can help other people understand exactly how it is that I go through and plan a month, maybe it will be helpful for others to also do that. Sometimes it just takes breaking it down, seeing somebody else break it down, seeing the way somebody else does it, for us to either figure out, hey, I can use that system too, or be inspired to be like, you know what? That system's great, but I think I can tweak it a little bit so that it can work better for me and my life. So if you are new to my channel, I do monthly plan with me's. And this month, we're doing it a little bit differently. I am going to plan out the current month, which happens to be February, but I'm also going to take you literally through step by step how it is that I do that. So let's dive right in. First up, the very first thing that I do is I change my calendars. So I have this dry erase one here behind me that I'm gonna change, and then I also have a tear off one that I use kind of as my content calendar when it comes to creating these videos right here on YouTube. So let's go ahead and do that. While it may seem obvious to change your calendar before you start doing any planning, I don't know, I feel like that could be an easy thing to skip right over. So by having those calendars switched out, as I'm planning out my month, as I'm thinking about any events or anything that I might have coming up for the month, I can quickly reference that and look at that. Also, in this specific month, it happens to be February, so I'm looking at the fact that it's a shorter month. So thinking of, can I accomplish as much in a month that has a few less days, is something to also consider. So the next step that we are going to do, reflecting on the previous month. So I have my vision board from the month prior. In this case, it is January, and I'm gonna look through and I'm literally gonna go through it with a pen, and I'm going to check off the things that I did. I'm gonna think through and ask myself a couple different questions. I'm gonna ask, what goals did I achieve? What goals did I not achieve? What goals did I make some progress on? And then ask myself, were there any goals that ended up being not relevant to what it is I was actually wanting to work on in the month that I was in? Which that will happen. We may set goals at the beginning of the year or the beginning of the month that end up not actually being important or not actually being something that we care about achieving. And so that is gonna happen. So there's nothing wrong with putting a goal on here and then deciding that actually wasn't really important to me, so I didn't end up working on it. Now I know. So let's take some time and we're gonna look through this, and I am going to figure out what went well, what didn't, and kind of take some time and look through that. All right, so I actually feel pretty good about this month, but there were a couple of things that I definitely thought I was gonna be able to check off that I wasn't actually able to check off, which is very eye-opening, and it's very helpful because as I'm going into planning the following month, I now know, oh, I actually did want to achieve that goal, but I didn't. So maybe that's a goal that's just going to be put into my next vision board so that I can set that as a goal for the following month. So if you've watched my videos before, typically I do a plan the month with me, I do a mid-month check-in, and then I do a recap at the end. But in this situation, I'm kind of combining that because technically, in order to plan my new month, I need to look over and do that recap of what it is that I achieved from the month prior. So these actually kind of go hand in hand when it comes to setting my goals for a new month. I have to think back on what it was that I achieved or didn't achieve from the month prior, because a lot of times the goals that I'm working towards build on one another, right? And technically, if you haven't seen my goal setting series, it is a 7-video series where we dive into all things from setting goals to creating yearly vision board to doing monthly vision boards to breaking those down into weekly and daily goals and the mindset that you need to have and all of that. Like I said, it's a lot of hard work and heart work was poured into that. So make sure to check that out below if you have any interest in that. But for me, the reason that I do monthly vision boards is to give me a small snapshot of what it is that I'm actually trying to achieve over the course of the year. So at the beginning of the year, I create a yearly vision board, and then I create monthly vision boards, which are just small bite-sized pieces of what it is that I'm looking to achieve over the course of that year. So I create my yearly vision board. I set goals in that first month that are going to be a small bite-sized chunk and the very first step towards achieving those goals on that yearly vision board. So in this case, January was last month. It was the first month that I was working towards these new goals that I've set on my yearly vision board. So now in February, what I accomplished in January, I'm going to be able to build on in February, or what I didn't accomplish in January may need to be bumped over into February, or I need to seriously ask myself the question of, was that something that I actually wanted to work towards or not? Because is there a reason I didn't achieve it? Is it because I just didn't plan well and I didn't make the time for it? Or is it because I just didn't really want to work towards that after all, even though I thought that I did? So that is something that we should be asking ourselves monthly, but even more often, weekly, daily, and definitely when we put those goals on our yearly vision boards, we have no idea what's going to be happening from a year from now. So we have no idea if that's even going to be important to us from a year from now, which is why I am so passionate about the monthly vision boards, because they just seem way less overwhelming and more doable on something that I can actually work towards. And in a couple of weeks, I can know if I've made progress or not. So with that being said, I have a couple of goals that are going to be pushed over into the new month, but I have quite a few goals that I achieved, like the personal development books that I wanted to read, and my weekly date nights with my husband, and getting together and doing our community event, and being on time was a new goal that I put on there for this year. But then there were a couple of things that I didn't achieve, and that was going and having a friend weekend. I didn't get a chance to volunteer this past month. I didn't actually achieve my goal with my YouTube, which was creating a full Q1 content calendar. I haven't created that yet. I did ask in some of my last videos for feedback and suggestions on the types of videos that you guys want to see. So that is super helpful, but I haven't actually taken the time to like plug that into creating an entire content calendar for Q1. And so technically I didn't achieve that goal, but that's a great goal that I can just push on into February because it is still something that I'm working towards. Same thing with my Teachers Pay Teachers goal. I have been creating products, but I haven't actually made a bundle. And technically the goal that I have here on my vision board for the month of January was create my first bundle. So I technically can't check that off as completed, but I do know that I've made progress in both of those goals, just not these specific goals that I put on my January vision board. So that gives me a great idea of, do I need to adjust that goal moving forward, or do I just need to push that goal, copy and paste, and put it onto my next vision board for the following month? All right, so step 3, and this is gonna be an optional step because you may not have one of these, but I am going to take a look at my 12-week year plan. So in the event that you were brought to my channel or you have seen the video about the 12-week year planning and process, I also have that video linked below. It has been a favorite and a lot of people have gotten a lot of benefit from that. So I highly encourage you checking that out. But for now, my next step in planning out my month is I'm gonna take a look at my own personal 12-week year. Okay, so after taking a look at my 12-week year plan, what I found from my 12-week year is very much in alignment with what I saw on my vision board for the month, because 2 of the goals, both my YouTube goal and my Teachers Pay Teachers goal, they are also on my 12-week year. So if I didn't achieve them on my vision board, it's likely that I didn't actually achieve them in my 12-week year plan, because the goals that I put on my vision board are directly from this 12-week year plan. That's the whole purpose of this 12-week year plan, is basically to break down those weeks, what I need to accomplish in order to achieve these goals that I've set. All I know from that is that I can take that information and apply that moving forward. I'm not gonna beat myself up over the fact that those didn't get accomplished. I did make progress in some areas of those goals, but not all of the areas of those goals. And so I have the power to now, moving forward, adjust, pivot, and do what needs to be done so that I can either catch up, or I can just adjust and kind of move some of these goals back a little bit if I want to. That is up to me, and that's the beauty of this. Goal setting is not about being set in stone and having to follow it to a T. It's about doing the best that you can, making the best plans that you can. And if you do it, great. And if you don't, you get to adjust after that, because at the end of the day, it's your plan. You're the one that created it, and therefore you're the person that also can make changes as need be. So now that I have taken some time and I've looked over my vision board from the month prior, and I've looked over my 12-week year plan to see what it was that I actually accomplished over those coinciding weeks, and looking ahead at what needs to happen in this upcoming month, I am now ready to actually sit down and create my vision board for this month. So let's take some time and get that done. Okay, so we have created our new monthly vision board, and as you saw, I went through, I uploaded some new pictures. So I personally like to use my own pictures because whenever I print this out, I hang it up right here so I can see it every single day when I'm sitting here at my desk. And it's just more motivating to me whenever I see actual pictures of like me or my family or things that I'm working towards that I actually like represent, if that makes sense. So uploaded some new pictures, changed out the books that I'm going to be reading this month, all of those things. And then I also, of course, referenced my 12-week year and my vision board from last month so that I knew what goals was I changing, what goals was I adjusting, what goals do I need to add that maybe weren't on there previously, and went through and did that. It really, for me, is that simple. And you will probably notice that not a lot changes. And if you are someone who is doing this from month to month, not a lot is going to change, because if you think about it, if you are basing these monthly vision boards off of a year-long goal, you have 12 steps or 12 months that are going to get you to that overall goal. So month to month, these goals aren't going to change much. And like we talked about earlier in this video, these goals are typically going to be kind of like stepping stones that are going to get you wherever it is that you're headed to. So when it comes to creating my personal vision board, weekly date nights, for example, is something that stays on there every single month. I typically just change out the picture. For my personal development books and the goal that I have to read 10 pages a day and to listen to 10 minutes a day, I just change out the books because I've completed the ones from the month prior. Sometimes I don't complete the book from the month prior, so I'll either leave that on there, or maybe I had another book on there. Like this month, for example, I had a book on here that I do plan to read someday, but it just didn't end up being a book that I wanted to read last month. So instead of moving it over to this month, I decided that's just not the book that I'm focused on. That's not the kind of personal development I'm looking to have right now. So I just took it off completely. I am still doing the 75 hard challenge that will go through the rest of this month and then into March. So that is something that's gonna stay on there. So instead of it saying start the 75 hard challenge, it just says continue the 75 hard challenge, right? So some other things on here, I'm gonna continue on with my 12-week year instead of starting my 12-week year. I have started kind of following this 4-day work week, and I am still kind of hammering out the details of what that looks like, but I wanna continue honoring that. So I didn't even touch that goal. I am gonna continue to make the goal of attending church in person each week. In prior months, when it comes to my Bible reading, I've just had it in here to do my Bible time, and that's still a goal. But this month specifically, I'm diving into Proverbs, and I really want to spend the entire month of February focusing on Proverbs and all the great lessons that there are to be learned in that book of the Bible. And then I'm actually starting serving with my church in our kids area through Life Kids. That is going to be starting this upcoming Sunday. So that will be something that's starting in February. So I added that to my vision board for this month. Being on time is a goal that I want to continue working towards. Having monthly community events is something that I want to do with my work and with my community. And so that's there. I just updated the picture. We did one last month. Actually, we ended up doing 2 last month. And so we have another one scheduled for this month. I want to volunteer this month. I'm going to continue to do weekly family dinners with my family, reading my fiction each day. So I changed that to read fiction daily to unplug. And I've now challenged myself to read at least 30 minutes of fiction each day. So I am someone who can work and work and work and work. I love what I get to do for my work. I love getting to do these YouTube videos. I love getting to make TPT products. So if you let me, I will work and work and work. So if I know that I need to get 30 minutes of fiction reading in each day, I know that I need to schedule that. That's not just 5 minutes before I fall asleep, but that's 30 minutes that I want to be intentional to actually force myself to unplug a little bit and enjoy that fiction reading and kind of give myself a little bit of a break and give my brain a little bit of a break from work. So, and then eating lunch away from my desk is just something that, even though I've gotten in a really good rhythm of doing that over the last, 5 months that's been a goal, I want to continue to leave that on there because that's something that's important to me. And just like the fiction, it forces me to get away from this desk and physically go somewhere else. So I started Financial Peace University in January, and I'm going to continue that on. That is a multiple week course, and so I have not finished that. Plus, it's something that I definitely feel like I'll be revisiting some of those videos. I'm telling you, some of those bring me to tears. They are just, the stories are so inspiring and just really emotional. So that is something. And then I am in the process of getting ready to do my taxes. My husband and I are, and so I want to make sure to get those finished up. And then moving forward, I want to be doing those weekly. I have made this a goal for myself for multiple years to stay on top of my taxes on a weekly basis. and I have failed every single time. So it is another goal that I'm putting in place that I'm going to start. I'm going to finish my taxes from the previous year, and I'm going to start updating my taxes weekly. As someone who runs my own business, I have to worry about those sorts of things and the business expenses and those sorts of things that I need to be keeping track of. Is it possible to sit down and do it at the end of the year? Yes. But would it be so much nicer to get to the end of the year and already have it all done? 100%. So that's why it is a goal of mine, and I have now put it back on my vision board. So the next one, these are specific with my work, my team. We're going to be doing a February challenge, and that is amongst partners that we are like kind of teaming up, which is really fun. So it's just kind of some healthy competition to include in the work that we get to do and love every day. And then the actual group that I will be hosting to help my community and my clients with, we're doing a foodie challenge. So it's going to be all things about food, about healthy desserts, about just really changing that mindset around diet culture and all of that, which is an area that I'm so passionate about as someone who used to really struggle with all of that. I love now not only having educated myself, but getting to educate others on eating and nutrition and just health overall, and that happiness that I hope to help others achieve when it comes to their own health and their lives in that way. Having a friend weekend did not happen last month, and so making that happen this month is something I'm super excited about. Then, of course, as I mentioned earlier, my YouTube goal was something that didn't actually technically happen, even though I still made progress with it. So I am going to continue working on finishing out Q1's content calendar. So I still have this month and the month of March to do that. And then batch record some videos. So I want to get kind of ahead where I've recorded some videos where all I have to do is edit, and then I want to come up with a weekly posting schedule. So I asked for your guys' feedback in one of the last videos that I had shared, and I asked like what day of the week and how often do you want to see those videos, and I got a lot of good feedback, but it was kind of all over the place. So I've kind of been trialing and erroring what days I post, how I like that schedule, what that looks like. So I want to continue working on figuring out what day or days of the week I like to post, and then I set a goal for myself to have a minimum of 4 videos posted for the month of February. So that would be 1 video a week, but I'm still toying with the idea of doing 2 videos a week. So we'll see how that goes. On Teachers Pay Teachers, my plan is to figure out how to flatten products. I have figured it out, but it is very, very tedious and time consuming, and I just keep thinking there has to be a better way, but I'm thinking that maybe there isn't. So I'm gonna figure that out and then try to get all of my products that I've created so far posted once I have figured out how to flatten them, because that's currently my holdup of why I haven't posted them yet, is because I haven't yet figured out the easiest, most efficient, best way to flatten the products. And if you're unfamiliar with that term, I wasn't familiar either, but basically what it means is when I create a product, I use clip art from other creators. I don't want someone to be able to come along and copy and paste the work that I've done. So you flatten it, and it basically turns out it looks like an image. So you can't copy and paste anything on it. And there are different programs and softwares that can do that. Some of them cost money, some of them don't, but the ones that don't tend to be more of a tedious process, and I don't have all the time in the world. I wish I did, but I don't, and so I just want to be the most efficient, and then also just figure that out. And then from there, continue working on building my TPT business by creating more products, creating some bundles, all of that, which was a goal that we had last month, and now I've added it to this month, including the figure out the flatten process, which was not on the goal last month because I didn't know that that was something that was going to be quite as difficult as what I'm realizing it kind of is. So continuing with the goal of weekly learning, so whether that's learning how to do things on Procreate on my iPad or utilizing my Skillshare membership or whatever, I want to make sure that I'm challenging myself to learn something new each week, like on a weekly basis. Definitely monthly, but I would like to challenge myself to do it even weekly. And then the last 2 goals that are on my vision board are Fridays. I get to spend the day with my niece, and so getting to enjoy those days and fully unplug for that. That's kind of where that 4-day work week came in, where I don't want to have to do any work on Fridays. I want to be fully focused on getting to spend that time with her because I'm so lucky that I get to do that. She actually turns 2 this week, so I'm super excited to celebrate with her and just get to spend that time, and then use some of the activities that I'm creating for TPT with her, because she is just this little sponge that is learning right now, and I want to continue to capitalize on that and, pull out my teacher muscle and get to do that with her. And then the final goal that I have is I am currently in the process of decluttering my entire home. I have made a ton of progress on that so far. This past month I decluttered the kitchen, and it feels so good. I got rid of so many like expired canned goods and like things that were in the fridge that I didn't even realize were expired, let alone that some of them I didn't know we had. So there's that. I went through all of our pots and our pans and our Tupperware and all of that. And we had gotten some new things for Christmas, like glass dishware. So I've replaced a lot of things. I've cleaned out a bunch of things. You know, how many pots and pans does a person need, right? We had so many. We had pots and pans I didn't even know that we had. So all of that got donated, which felt really good to do that as well. And now my kitchen is much more tidy, much more clean, and I know exactly what we have, where it is. And then when it comes to grocery, like shopping and creating that list, I'm no longer wondering like, do I actually have that or not? I'm not sure. Now I can quickly reference whatever pantry or cabinet that I need, and I can know very quickly, yes, I have it, or no, I don't, because everything is so nice and organized now, and it feels so, so, so good. So that is my vision board for this month, which happens to be February, and I'm super excited about that. The next step that comes with this is simply printing out my vision board. So let's do that. All right, so now that we have that vision board printed out and hung up, now we need to take some time and just make sure that we are really, really clear and understanding on, okay, we've put some goals on there. These are the goals that we are hoping to achieve by the end of the month. Some of these things, like my weekly date nights, are habits, so those aren't necessarily like achieved, where it's not like there's a start and an end. It's a repetitive thing, but you can still get to the end of the month and say, did I go on any date nights, and were they weekly? So this is now time to really, really make sure, because if not, we're gonna go back to the drawing board. This is the time to really, really make sure, okay, are all of those goals something that I'm truly going to be able to achieve this month? And the way that you're going to truly think through that is you're gonna break them down into weekly goals and then even into daily. And in the event you want more help and guidance on how to do that, I do have a video that's all about that. I have it linked below. It is part of the 7-video goal setting series, but one of those videos is specifically about taking monthly goals and breaking them down into weekly and daily tasks so that you can actually achieve those goals that you put on there instead of them just being pretty pictures that you put a few words with. So make sure to check that out if you need more guidance when it comes to breaking down these monthly goals that you've now set into those weekly and daily chunks. So that's the final piece as far as when it comes to actually creating this vision board and actually planning out your month. The final step that I have for you is now you get to just have fun and be super, super excited about this. We get to set goals. We get to set habits and intentions and work towards things. We don't have to. I don't have to work towards the majority of the things that I put on my vision board. I enjoy it. I love life when I'm working towards a goal. I love achieving things. I love working towards something. I love the mental tasks that it takes to think through, okay, I want this, but what's it gonna take to achieve that? Like, I like those things. And honestly, our brains were hardwired to want to do those things. We are problem solvers by nature. Some of us have gotten so far out of problem solving that the idea of even beginning that again is like overwhelming. But I promise you, we feel the best. We feel so good whenever we have solved a problem. We feel so good when we have said we're gonna do something and we actually follow through with it. And so for me, those monthly vision boards and planning out my month, that is why I do this. And that is also why I share this, because not only do I find a ton of enjoyment and a lot of just happiness that comes from this, but clearly you guys do too, which is why we have connected and really hit it off here in this YouTube space. So in the event that this was helpful, I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that kind of taking this plan with me and making it a little bit more tangible, a little bit more actionable, and a little bit more very clear on what it is that you can do so that you can also be setting these monthly goals, creating these monthly vision boards, and, you know, setting your months up for success. I hope that you have gotten that value and gotten that information that you need to do that. The final thing that I want to say is, in the event that you saw my vision board and you're like, oh, I want that template, down below it is linked. You can get access to it for free. And not only is it just this month's vision board, but it is the entire year. So you have a yearly vision board template and every single month's vision board template as well. You can edit it and make it work however you want to. I have a few examples and just some details on there that you can look through and utilize. But other than that, feel free to use and make it your own. It is used through the website called canva.com, so you will need an account. Below, I have it linked where you can also create your free account. It is not something that you have to pay for. There is a paid option, and I do use that, but you do not need it. You could do so much with the free Canva account option. So click that link below, get signed up with your free Canva account, and then utilize the link below so that you can start working on your very own monthly vision board as well. So I hope that this was helpful. I am so excited. I had so much fun coming to you and kind of breaking this down. I've gotten a lot of questions about monthly vision boards and all of that. And even though we touched on a lot of that in the goal setting series, I hope that this kind of broke it down in a different way and helped you see you can absolutely do this. It is quite simple. If you need to watch this again, or if you need to go back and revisit a certain section on what it is that you need to do, there are timestamps in the description box below. So make sure to go wherever it is that you are needing a little extra help, a little extra encouragement, and a little extra explanation, because it's there. So thanks so much for being here. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please subscribe. If you know somebody that might be able to benefit from a monthly planning video like this, send this link their way. I would appreciate that so much. And until I see you in the next video, I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day, and we'll see you next time.